control. Think clear. Don't let them see a hint of fear. Lines and dots, zoom in, zoom out. Open your window, let them hear you shout. Right on the poles, right on the street. Always remember the future is near.
Hey everybody, Chris Horton with Addicts, and welcome to another episode of the Addiction series. I'm today out at the Caldwell Archery Range here in Caldwell, Idaho, and I'm going to discuss the arrow setup that I'm actually using for the 2020 archery season. This year I'm actually running a little heavier. I'm about 40 grains heavier than I was last year, but I'm actually shooting 75-pound mods out of my bow this year versus 70. So a little heavier mods, a little heavier arrow, basically trying to move a little faster, a little heavier, hit a little harder, a little more kinetic energy. The arrow setup I'm doing this year weighs in at 530 grains, and I am shooting the Kill & Sticks Micro LT 250 spine shaft. So great shaft. It's an 001 straightness. It flies really well for me, and with running the heavy front and center, the 250 spine keeps it under control. I run a full helical. I really like the high spin when trying to keep broadheads shooting accurately, especially as you can probably hear today, as much as the wind blows out here out west. The true helical puts a lot of spin. Now you do lose a little bit of feet per second with that, but in my opinion, having more control of the arrow outweighs losing a few feet per second. Okay, so for my front, basically the outsert insert system, I am shooting the full iron will setup. They use the deep 6 thread, and it's a 75 grain pin on the inside with a 25 grain stainless collar. Super strong. I actually was shooting this arrow up at elk camp scouting the other week and managed to pull a shot at 80 yards, just shooting a small target, and hit a tree root and managed to bounce off the tree root, take a chunk out of it, bounce up, hit a tree, slap the tree, broke the knock, and then tumbled off to the side, and the arrow is still completely straight, didn't break the outsert, insert, carbon, didn't break the back out. So super impressed as far as that goes. And I am actually shooting also the iron will field tip, which they do have a slightly different shape to them than your normal field tips. Basically it's designed to fly similar to a broadhead. So I glue the collar on, pin inside, and that puts me with 125 grain head. I am 225 grains up front. That puts my FOC percentage at 16.9%. I know some people like that 20%. It's just a little too heavy for me. I really like this, was the way it's shooting this year at the 530 grains. I'm moving at 271 feet per second. So it's hitting hard and hitting fast. So I talked a little bit about the field tip and the way it's designed to actually shoot very similar to the iron will broadheads. For the broadheads, I'm shooting actually two different types of broadheads from iron will. The first is their good old solid 125 grain head. This is their S125 bulletproof head, super quiet in flight, super sharp, so be careful if you're messing with one of these. By far the sharpest broadhead that I've ever personally shot. And I really like this style of broadhead for elk. The cut on contact, main blade with bleeders. You get a good hole, but elk are big and tough creatures. So, you want to be able to punch through rib bones, cartilage, tissue, hide, everything that you've got to go through. And where I said I'm shooting two different broadheads is the S125 is definitely my main go-to broadhead this year, but I'm actually carrying another broadhead from Iron Will also, which is their new wide version, their W125. An impressive broadhead. Now, Bill warned that because of how wide it is, that once you get past a certain yardage that it may not shoot as well out of some bows. I'm a stickler as far as tuning my bow. It shoots perfect, and I've actually shot this broadhead out to 80 yards and it shoots great. But it's noisier because of the fact it's vented, because with going wider they had to take some material out to keep the weight down. So it is noisier, which at distance I don't want an animal to be able to hear the arrow coming as well, so that they have the ability to jump it, duck it, anything that goes along with it. So the solid is my go-to. If I don't know the distance that an animal is going to come in at, I grab the solid. If I'm sitting something like a wallow, where I'm talking about shots that are 40 and under, where noise doesn't necessarily matter, then I grab the wide because of the little bit bigger hole. So that's my basic arrow setup for this year. Been shooting really well for me. I hope you enjoyed this little video and enjoy the rest of the Addiction series. Thanks for watching.